Tell us what's most challenging and most rewarding about running our media accounts.
A lot of people think just because you're in China that what you're saying is somehow influenced by China's government or anything like that. And I think it's actually, it's hard to make people believe that what I'm saying is actually true. There's a lot of people who love to watch, follow my accounts in China and overseas, who are already quite open or quite supportive of China. But I would love to reach people who aren't, necessarily on board, and that is quite hard to do. But on the flip side, probably the most rewarding is when you do manage to convince somebody that what they've learned or heard about on the Western media about China is often very misleading and scaremongering. So I've had a few people who started off as like hater followers. They follow you because they don't really like you. And after a while, they've sent me like a private message saying, in the beginning, I didn't really believe you. I didn't like what you had to say. But actually, after following you for a while, I've come to see that you're quite genuine and you've really taught me a lot about China. So that is definitely very rewarding, and I really like that when it happens. Well, actually, a lot of the things China does with the economy, with everything like that, is based on socialism, so helping the people first. And one of the really good examples is China's high-speed railway system, which a lot of China critics like to say doesn't make money. It's a failure because it doesn't make money. It loses money every year. But that attitude is because they've failed to understand that China bases its decisions and how it spends its money and how it develops largely on socialism or Chinese socialism. So it's for the benefit of the people. And as we all know, over the past few decades, China has developed hugely. And I would argue that a huge part of that is to do with the Gaotie, the high-speed railway system.
Would you advise young people who are interested in journalism to study that at university or not, given the internet has empowered the mass?
To be honest, I think I would recommend anyone who wants to be a journalist to first study, it doesn't have to be university, it could be a polytechnic, a shorter course, because I think it's really important to understand the fundamentals of journalism. Citizen journalism, especially online, has become very popular and very powerful, and that is awesome. But I do notice a lot of people making quite rookie mistakes. So I would recommend studying in university or at least some kind of course just to get those fundamental basics. I think it's worth it.
And also there are many other dimensions to journalism these days, like AI and data, right?
Exactly, it's kind of scary. My boss sent me a video the other day of a clip from my show, which they had used AI to translate into Japanese. And it's really quite scary because it sounds just like me. And when you see the mouth moving and everything, it's very Japanese. So I think AI is going to play a huge role as well in media. And also it's going to be hard, very hard to kind of discern what is real and fake. So I think, strong ethics in journalism is going to be even more important in the future.
My final question. We are hosting the World Media Summit, a gathering of media executives from the world, including from the East and the West. What would be your message to these media executives?
I would say it probably comes back to reading and learning about China. For example, reading books like this, China's whole process, People's Democracy. A lot of people in the West, especially Western media, like to push kind of very Western-centric ideas. So a lot of people in the West believe China can't possibly be democratic because the people don't directly choose their leader. That is far from the truth. The word democracy has so much more meaning. And China really is very democratic, but not in the eyes of Westerners. So I think what people need to do, especially media executives who work with China, is to try and step back from all the myths that are propagated in the West that are seen as fact and try to remove yourself from your Western value system. I think if you can stop viewing China through a Western lens and judging China with a Western lens, it'll be a lot easier to understand China and really understand where they're coming from. And that comes from education, I think. So I would really recommend reading up, grab these books, learn what China says about it and their arguments. And I think your reports will be a lot better off and a lot fairer in the future.